Welcome back everyone to our gameplay series of Transport Fever 2. And in today's video, I want to go back to the idea of passenger transportation. But instead of focusing on a transportation network within the city itself where we pick folks up at their home and either take them to their work or for shopping, we're going to be dealing with transportation between cities. So this is going to be the next step. Now, I will tell you right now that we are early on. We're a bit too early in the technology window. We're only at 1938, so we still don't have great transportation, particularly on the speed department, to make this happen. But I wanted to go ahead and do this video right now at this point in the series because this is something we're going to come back to in future videos. So the most important thing we're going to do today is really two things. First, we're going to set up some initial hub cities, and we'll talk about those more in detail here in just a moment. And then we're going to set up some infrastructure. And that's because if we take a look at how can we get citizens from Seattle to Costa Mesa, well, we got a couple of ways. We can either go north and try to use the road network there, or we can come in south and try to use that road network. Either way, we're going to have to do some alterations and additions to the network itself. However, we can start to make some of these happen right now. Money is not an issue. I mean, we're looking at almost $260 million at this point. So money is a non-issue. So it's a good time for us to begin laying down some of this framework even before it is really needed. So if we begin to look at, okay, how do we know if passengers are going between cities? Well, you can come into the city itself, bring up its pop-up window, and normally we've been used to spending our time looking on this window, whether it's to see what the actual number of citizens are, how much it's grown, how much the supply and demand is for the various cargo that we're bringing in. But this time we're going to come in under the third tab, which is destinations. And of course, we would certainly expect to see that most of the destinations are going to be within the city itself. But you also notice that there's a listing here for every other city. Now again, because we're ahead of the technology curve here, right now there is no private transportation moving outside of Costa Mesa from Costa Mesa. If we move around to another city, let's take Fontana. Go to destinations, you can see we've got a few destinations. Again, not many. And then we've got several people going back and forth to Surprise because it is in fairly close proximity for this early in the game. Now, the citizens will only travel if there is, number one, transportation available through a road network and through public transportation or even private transportation. But we need speed to make that happen. And that's something we're going to be lacking. And that's why we're going to focus simply on infrastructure as opposed to worrying about setting up a lot of routes that are going to make huge amounts of money. So what we're going to do in our infrastructure is I'm actually going to choose some roads that are a bit ahead of their time as well, because at some point we're going to have to upgrade these roads. And since money is not an issue for us right now, we're going to go ahead and select a road. 50 miles per hour is way more than we would need on these roads right now. So that makes it a great choice for me. So the first thing I want to do in trying to get from Seattle over to Costa Mesa is I want to try to make it as short as possible. This is something similar to what I would do in the future when we're looking at train transportation. And then, of course, ultimately, we'll have the opportunity for airlines. So what I want to do is, let's see what happens if we do that. I don't like the curvature, but rather than spend a lot of time on this, let's just go with it. So now that makes it a little bit straighter. Now we have to be careful because we've got a sort of a smaller mountain in the way. So we want to come just around the side of that. And then I think the best opportunity here is if we could go from here to something like over to there. But we'll have to see how the elevation treats us. We may or may not be able to get by with that. Let's see. Ooh, looks like, yeah, we were going to get into a tunnel there, but it looks like we can get around it. I go in here. Okay, that's actually not too bad. That's fairly straight considering the obstacles that we have in the way. And then if we look at Costa Mesa getting over to Carrollton. Now, right now there's no traffic in between the two, as we saw, but that's simply because there is no way to get there. Other than coming down and using this bridge, there is no way. So what I want to try to do is connect up. Let's take this street and go over and across and maybe connect up somewhere in here on this street, and that gives us a good way. Now, we could always try to bypass some of this and make our own road, but for now, we'll just stick with this. And as always, this is the level I would prefer to build from, but you can see on the screen in that red pop-up window, zoom in to build. So it always wants me to zoom in a little bit further than I would prefer to zoom in to stop building. So now I'm going to have to bring this over and try to make this happen as best I can. All right, so we can go ahead and do this in one swoop. Now, I don't want to do this maybe. Actually, that's not too bad. Generally, when you start looking at long segments like this, it wants to curve the road quite a bit. In this case, it actually turned out pretty good. Let's go ahead and use the most modern bridge we have access to right now, $2 million. But again, that is a non-issue for us right now. All right, so that's going to give us a fairly straight road. We still got a little bit of issue here. We might actually be able to bypass some of that. Let's give that a shot and see if we can do that. Oh, there we go. Now it wants to start curving. Okay, right there looks pretty good. I like that. Okay, so now that gives us some options. And let's see if even this soon after making that change. Yes, there we go. Carrollton now has a little bit of private traffic. But of course, we're going to want to make that our traffic and using our lines as time goes on. But we've already got a couple set up. Now, before we head down into Fontana and connect it as well, we need to figure out how we're going to connect all of this. The easiest way is if we come in under buildings and we want passenger, the easiest way is to use an actual bus station. Now, we can always just use a bus stop, but in my experience, they get way overcrowded if you do that. So it's probably easier if we just use a station. Now, where do we put the station? Well, we know that we're going to have citizens coming in on our network from sort of the northwest. We're going to have some coming in from due east and then sort of southeast. So a train station down in this area makes some sense. That's probably going to mean that we're going to have to remove some buildings unless we want to do something like this. And right now I'm thinking this is the option I want to go with. Not exactly centrally located like I would prefer, but I really don't want to remove any more buildings than is absolutely necessary. And also, a good reason for not going to the center of the city is because we're going to be introducing some serious amounts of traffic by doing this. So having it sort of on the outskirts of the city is not the worst idea. And then we can certainly connect this in with the existing road network, and that should be perfectly good. So we're going to go ahead and put it right there. Again, not exactly best case scenario, but we can always move it later on if we decide to. Now here, we're probably not going to be connecting Seattle to another area, so I'm not going to put a train station here yet. We're just going to use one of the bus stops for now. But again, that's probably going to become overcrowded and something we're going to have to address in the future. Now, Carrollton, let's see, Murfreesboro is there, Fontana is there, so we'll go ahead and put something, let's say right, I'll tell you what, let's put it right here on the side here. That's not a terrible spot. And again, we're not removing any buildings to get there. Should give us room to expand this. In fact, let's go ahead and expand a little bit right now. Let's go ahead and get a slightly upgraded road. Connect that out. That's probably going to cause the AI to very quickly. There it is. Our first expansion off of that. And okay, so we've got a couple of cities hooked up to Costa Mesa. Now let's see how we want to attack connecting up with Fontana. So we've got a road going through here. Now, obviously, you can always just make your own road, a highway system straight in. But for right now, I'm trying to connect to existing networks because I believe long term we're going to be going with other means of transportation, such as what you see on the screen with these airplanes. And then we've got the twin coach, which is now a little bit faster and makes it a bit of a better option for us long term. All right, let's come back over. Again, speed limit 50, way more than what we need. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Can I do something like that? I like that. Again, I don't want it to curve really any more than we have to. Okay, that's not terrible. It's not exactly what I would prefer. However, it's not too bad. In fact, let's go ahead and make a connection there. And then let's come back to our city. And because I love to do these things, let's go ahead and connect this up for the city. And that will force them to then go ahead and expand some more on their own, which is always a good thing. All right, so I like this. Now we have 3 cities connected up to Costa Mesa. That's going to get more transportation between these. You can see Carrollton's got some, Fontana's already got some, Seattle, and then of course Surprise has some as well. All right, so what are we going to do in Fontana? Fontana has the possibility of being a hub city. So now we'll get to talk a little bit about what I consider to be a hub city. And for me, we're going to have multiple options for these. There's not just one. A hub city is a city that is in close enough proximity to multiple other cities that you could use it as a hub for your transportation. In this case, for right now, we're using the road network. And in the future, it's somewhere where over in Costa Mesa, we could drop an airport out here and have citizens coming in from 3 different cities to use this airport and then traveling on to another hub city. So I like to do that for multiple reasons, but one of those is just the ease of use whenever we get further along in our technology. So Fontana, already I can see I want to make a road connection there to help out with expansion. All right, where do we want to put? Let's go ahead and put, I want to put it right here, I think. Because this also has potential as a hub city. I like the idea of using a station there. All right, now we don't have, one thing we don't have is direct connection from Fontana to Carrollton, other than using sort of a roundabout way. So what we could do is come right across there. But I tell you what, we'll come back to that at a later time. Right now, what I want to do is set up our routes. So first and foremost, let's come in and we only want to see the routes, the bus routes within the city, which means we want Costa Mesa bus. And I'm going to go ahead and add, we're going to add a station after number 1. And that station we're going to add, of course, is right there. So by highlighting one of the stops, the next stop I add will come in after that. So now we have a bit of an odd route, a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be a huge issue for us. So now they're going to use that route. And now we can have everything come into the bus station and we should be good. Now, one thing we're going to want to do in the future is we're going to want to add some additional platforms, which is probably going to mean getting rid of this house. I was hoping to avoid that, but sometimes it just is what it is. All right, now we can add in our first line. We're going to go new line going from our bus station in Costa Mesa. And let's go over to Seattle. And our route of getting there, probably the easiest way is Wow, okay, let's back out of that for a second because everything is on the right-hand side of the street. So what I really want to do is add one in about right there. Okay, now we can come back into our line, which is certainly not complete. And we'll add that. Of course, you can see not quite as smooth as I might prefer, but that should get us started. And we'll call this Costa Mesa to Seattle. All right, now we're going to get some vehicles up and running on this one, passengers, and we want the twin coach, not just because of the capacity. I mean, look at the difference in capacity that we've got. We go from 9 to 14, but also the top speed is much more. So I'm going to go ahead and put 5 on this just to get it started. Again, we are a little bit ahead of the curve here. So I don't know how profitable it's going to be, but we are up and running. Now we're going to do the same thing over to Carrollton. And once again, new line using our bus station. And we want to go to the other bus station. Okay, some nice new technology that we are unlocking. I really like that. So I'm going to use the name of our hub city, which is right now Costa Mesa, first. All right, over to Carrollton. And we'll just go ahead and purchase our buses over here while we're here. And once again, we're just going to go 5 as a nice standard amount. That is certainly not going to be optimum, but we'll figure that out as time goes on. All right, let's see, Carrollton to Murfreesboro. We'll do that one later on. We need to come back and go Costa Mesa to Fontana. So Fontana, there we go. There's our station down there. Let's go ahead and set up our network, new line. And we're going to come right over here to this station. Now, the good thing about using a station right here is that we have a couple of existing bus stops nearby, so we don't really have to alter the existing network. So Costa Mesa to Fontana, done. And so we'll go ahead and get some vehicles. And once again, we'll start with 5. And we'll give this a little time to unfold, and we'll see how that works out. All right, so there's our first 3 networks moving all in and out of Costa Mesa. So now we'll let that take a moment to get up and running, and we'll come back over and let's see what we can do here with Murfreesboro. Let's see, we do have an uninterrupted line. That's about as straight as we can get there, so no upgrades just yet. And in fact, I think our road network here, let's see if I can very quickly find out. Let's see, where is my, there we go. Okay, so we're going to need to do some improvements, I think, on the roads. Okay, so no problem there. Murfreesboro, I think I just want to come in right here to this stop because I don't think this is going to have a ton of traffic. So I think just using an ordinary stop will be just fine. Oops, I needed to go new line. And the new line is going to go from our stop in Carrollton over to the centralized stop in Murfreesboro. Okay. I'm just going to shorten that to Borough, which is what a lot of people around here call Murfreesboro. Okay, not too bad. And all right, so while we're over here, once again, we'll just use this. And please get off my screen. Thank you very much. We have lots of technology coming in, so lots of pop-up windows. That is very good. But we don't really need that right now. So Carrollton to the Borough. There it is. Okay, so at this point, we've got some things set up. And just as I glance around, I already see we've got 18 people waiting here in Fontana. Again, close proximity to a couple of other stops. So I like this. So the idea of expanding, wow, look at that. That is a beautiful sight, seeing all of these passengers here. In fact, I think this is a great opportunity for a very nice screenshot. Look at all these people trying to cram in here and screenshot that. That might just end up being the thumbnail for today's video. All right, what about over here in Costa Mesa? We've got, oh wow. How many people do we have here? Yikes, we got a lot of people waiting. That is awesome. That's exactly what we want. Now, right now, there really is no overcrowding. Let's see what happens if we add additional cargo. What if we do this? I like this. I don't want to expand to the rear if I can keep from it for obvious reasons. Oh, wait. It's going to remove it anyway? Oh, I don't like that. But let's go ahead and do that and get that out of the way. And now, let's see. So we've got the main bus route coming in there. Then we've got Carrollton is using the second one, sort of the middle one. What is the Fontana one using? Oh, it looks like it's using the top one. And then Seattle is also using this. Okay, let's bring the Seattle one down here. So we've got Lower Costa Mesa. Let's bring it Terminal 1. So we'll go ahead and that will give us really no overcrowding as best I can tell here at this one. Let's come down to Fontana. Shouldn't be any issues here with it either. Okay, yeah, we've only got that coming in. Wait a minute. Why are you not using... Oh, never mind. That's right. We didn't have to route our buses in there because, as you can see, we've got people scurrying over to the bus stop, which really shouldn't help hurt our efficiency any at all. So now what I want to do is let's come back in here, and I could filter it down in here using Costa Mesa or bus or anything like that. But for right now, I just want to do it this way. And look at there. Now we've got some really nice locomotives in here as well as some bigger planes that are jumping in. So let's break this down. We have very nice traffic in our bus network right now. But look at this, Costa Mesa to Carrollton. $421,000. That is well exceeding what I thought we were going to have on this network. Now, again, just as we've seen with the trains up to this point, that number will vary. A lot of that is because we have pretty long travel times right now in between the cities. So yeah, this is really good. Looks like we have, wow, we need some expansion on some of these. It looks like, let's see, 9 will definitely not be overcrowding. So it must be that these two are on the same one. So Carrollton and Seattle. Let's take a look in here and do a little bit of work. Let's see, Seattle is the purple one, so it's coming down here. And Carrollton is, it's right there. So what else are we doing? Oh, the bus network. Okay, that's what's overcrowding. Okay, because we're using the bus. Okay, I got you. Let's see if we can help out with that. Should be interesting. Let's go ahead and expand. Actually, we could expand to the rear if we wanted to. But let's go ahead and do this. So let's go ahead and do that. So now we've got additional space in here. And we're going to have the bus. I like the idea of the bus being sort of right here in the center. I like that. And so then, what is the other one? It is Carrollton. Okay, so let's move Carrollton down here to, nope, where did that go? Oh, that went back up to the top. So let's go now down to here. There we go. So now we've got them spread out. You can see these guys scurrying over to the next, the new bus stop that we've got set up. But overall, shouldn't be that big of a deal. And again, we've got our main bus network coming in right there. Also, something I wouldn't mind doing is street access. Let's go. Let's just do it two-way. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. That should help out with some of the crowding issues, maybe. We might even want to do these each as one way. But we'll see. But for right now, I mean, look at all of the people that are using they're waiting at the bus stop for the actual bus network within the city. So this is going to do huge things for our profitability in a lot of different ways. It helps out our bus network. So our bus line is going to make more money now. And then also the existing traffic that is going to make quite a bit of money going from city to city. And now that brings me to the reality that we need to, let's come in under Vehicle Manager. And so the Costa Mesa bus network, let's go ahead and upgrade these. And of course we want to use the twin coach. I will happily pay that money. Now let's zoom in once again. All right, wow, we need to, all right, so we want to expand right, let's see, we can't go there. Let's expand right there and give ourselves some more room for our bus traffic. Now it makes things look a little weird down here, so I think I'm going to continue that on. There we go. Let's just keep things looking as nice and neat as I can force myself to make them. All right, I like it. That is exactly the type of thing I want to see. So that is our very first hub station. And again, moving forward, Fontana might well serve as a great hub city as well. Or, surprise, there are many different potential options here. But we'll get into those as time continues. For now, that'll do it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. And stay tuned for more Transport Fever 2.